Hi guys, Avery here. Today, I'll be showing you more engine stuff. So, since I didn't really want to wait for tomorrow, I'm gonna do it right now. So, smash the like, very much, and subscribe. And you guys get 2 videos in one day. And for everything that we learned about, like for the sections, it's just gonna be like, the amounts is gonna be like random. So this time I will be showing the charging system, the starting system, the valves, how it drives, electrical system, and fuel pump. So those are the things that I'm going to be showing. And we're going to start with the charging system. So, I am going to get my alternator. I'll be back. Okay, guys, this is an alternator. This thing. So, in a car, this would be maybe a little bit down further. I mean, obviously it goes on the belt. As you can see, it spins. So the belt would go here. And then it would spin, creating electricity for the car. Or power, like battery stuff. Because if this thing didn't exist, then your car would literally lose battery fluid within like a week. Or maybe a month. I don't know. Anyway, so this spins very fast. Like this. But even faster. And I'm going to explain the parts. So this right here. So when I spin this, you see this thing right in there also spins. Which that is a cooling fan. It would actually spin, yeah, this way. Because it blows air to cool it. So it spins this way faster than the other pulleys on the engine because it needs to spin really fast to create volts. So this down here is the cooling fan. Because, well, anything needs a cooling fan. So this spins, which is a cooling fan. And then there's more spinny stuff in here, which I'm going to show you in a second. So there's the cooling fan, which is this. The slip ring, which is inside of this. Stator rings. The stators are actually around here on the side. So if I lift this, this is the stator. This little ring here. The brushes, which are right at the end over here, but you can't see them. They're just kind of there, but you can't actually see them. It's kind of useless of showing it. Let's see. Reflector and regulator, which is again inside this. Drive belt from engine, which would be around this. Obviously I don't have it. Stator rings. Windings for the stator. There's also another stator windings inside this. So I'm going to get rid of this. There. So now I can show you that. Oh, I can't see it, but there. And I forgot to put my lens on. One sec. Where did I find this? Where is it? Where did I put that lens? Me. Me. Anyway, okay, so that is an alternator. And now I'm going to show you the readings. So you can like pause that. So you can pause. So I don't have to. Then you can read that. You can always get this app yourself too. It's called How a Car Works. It's on Android and iOS. So you can always read all that too. And then, yeah. And then that's pretty much it for the charging system. Just charges, that's literally the, yeah. The starting system. The starting system is like your starter, which is the thing. Okay, the starter is what starts your car. It's like the engine. So there's something called a flywheel on the back of the engine. If you ever take your engine out, look on the back, you'll see like a giant metal wheel that has gears, like teeth on the end. That's actually for the starter, because the starter has the teeth on it, as you can see here. So those teeth, actually I have a model engine. Why wasn't I using this? So this is actually your alternator. So then the engine is kind of seized, but yeah, so it spins like that when it actually, what's the spin? Get that fly. Why don't you want to spin? Spin already. There. Oh. Yeah, I'll be back once I get this working. It really got it better. Still doesn't want to spin properly, but it spins like that. And the starter is on the back here. So this is your flywheel. Spins like this. And then this little gear is your starter. Right here. And then at the end of this video, I'll be actually naming all the parts. And the spark plug wires seem to disconnect again. That's okay. Anyway, okay, so this is your starter. That spins, starting with the engine, and it all spins. Like that. Which, this starter is obviously electric. So there's the pinion. So when you turn your key, and then you'll notice when you turn it, there's like a little more turn to it, but springed. So if you turn it a little bit more, the gear springs out, so it's actually stored back further. When you turn it just a little bit more, that comes out, and it goes to the teeth on the flywheel and starts it. As soon as you let off that little thing, then the gear would go back in. It's a little case. Because if it were to stay out, then it would spin too fast for the starter and you break your starter. And those things are quite expensive. So, yeah, that's how a starter works. Pre-engaged starter. So, that's how that works. So it's like a slider. So there's brushes in the back, which brush to make the starter start. And then there's the commentator? I don't know. Anyway, so that's the thing that spins underneath the brushes, which the brushes are the ones with the wires that go to a magnet, and then those magnets make the armature? I don't know. Anyway, the armature, whatever that says, spins, causing the gear to pop out. Okay, so that's how that works. Okay, so there is a Bendix thread, which is like it's a thread, but it's kind of like a screw. But when the starter turns, the thing spins really fast, so then it causes the gear to just shoot out. And then once it's shot out, there's no more for it to go. So then the gear spins. And then there should be a spring. And then it would go back in. Wait, maybe when the engine is started, because it's like going really fast, it'll just kind of send it back in there. So, that's how that works. So you can see, see the gear spins, causing that thread spins, causing that to shoot out to start the engine. That's how that works, the starting system. Let's see if there's any more stuff. So there's just the assembly. Yeah, so it's springed, spinning. Okay, so the inner linear of the heavy piston assembly, which is like the thing that spins, prevents it from spinning immediately. So it's like a spring, so then the gear just doesn't follow when it spins lightly. Then the motor shaft turns, so it sides along the thread into the engagement, which the engine starts. The pinion is turned faster than its shaft, so it throws back out of engagement. So like what I said, it spins so fast, it springs it back into the motor, like I said. So now we go back to the valves. Did I show the valves? No, I didn't. Okay, so the valves. Right there, so you can read all that stuff. Okay, so the valves, there's something called a camshaft. So if you ever, like, yet again, you can read this, but if you ever play, like, car mechanic games, or if you are a mechanic, then you'll know of the cam and camshaft sprocket. The camshaft sprocket bolts onto the cam, the cam has these. Okay, so the camshaft sprocket bolts onto the camshaft. The cam is actually those egg-looking things. So those, like the bumps. So when those turn, they push the valve, which I actually have a valve somewhere. I'm gonna go find it in a second. Okay, so I couldn't find a valve, but from last video, I did find a thermostat. So this is, if you're wondering, this is what a thermostat looks like. So when it's cold, it's closed, I think. Should be. And then when it's warm, it opens like that. So that's how that works. Anyway. Okay, so back to the camshafts or shaft. Anyway, okay, so the cams push the. Okay, so there's the valve, the valve spring, and then the bucket tappet. So the valve is like here, the valve spring is around, and then the bucket tappet is on top, which the cam, which is the egg-looking thing, or the, like it literally looks like this. It spins. So then it hits the bucket like this, pushing the cam down. So as you can see, that is pressing that down, causing the valve to go down, letting exhaust or gasoline in, like exhaust going out or gasoline in. That's what the valves do. So then it pushes down and then lets or leaves something, and then it constantly does that really fast. So then the camshaft sprocket is driven by a belt, a toothed non-stretch drive belt, the idler wheel for tensioning belt. So when you're not taking the belt off, it tensions the belt so it doesn't just fall off. But when you want to take it off, since it's a non-tension belt, you would get a square, like flat socket, and then push this way or this way, depending how your car is made, and then it would make the idler wheel come off, and then it would loosen the belt up so you can take it off and do whatever you need to do. And then attached to the belt is a crankshaft sprocket, which is attached to the crankshaft, obviously. Right there. So you can see there. So then that. And then some cars have push rods. So that last thing was overhead camshaft. The next one is camshaft with push rods. So the push rods are like, it's pretty much the same thing, except the valves get pushed by a push rod. So it goes up, there's like a thing, so it pushes up and then pushes the valve down. So it's like this. So the push rod goes up like that, pushing the valve down, letting gasoline in or exhaust out. So this is basically the same, except there's a rocker arm, which the thing that does this is the rocker arm. the valve, the normal stuff like the bucket, and then springs. Connecting rod. Okay, so there's the camshaft, the crankshaft sprocket, which is going to a drivetrain, and then a camshaft sprocket goes to a camshaft, and then it attaches to a cam, obviously. The tappet, which is actually right there at the bottom of the push rod, the cam pushes the push rod up, causing the rocker arm, the one side going up and the other going down, pushing the valve down and then letting exhaust out, or gasoline in. And that figure. So then there's also a finger operated, I guess. So it's kind of like before. So this is how it works. So it's like that. So it pushes all of that down. So in some designs, the cams act directly on short levers called fingers. Okay, so those fingers are like the things that get pushed down. And that's pretty much a valve thing, so that's how valves work, and all the different types. Now for how it drives. So task performed by... Okay, so... the engine, how it drives. Okay, so... this is basically a normal thing. So, kind of explaining more about the engine. So you see, you can read this, which I kind of explained all those, so you can pause that and read it. So there's the oil filter cap on the top there. So if you open your hood, look on the cylinder cover. It's like a plastic thing, kinda. The engine, I don't think, has it, but it's like a plastic thing, kind of round like this. It's like a, I can't remember what it's called. It's like it covers the cams. So these plastic things right here, black things. So then there, on a real car, there'd be a cap there that when you open it, you would put your oil in. That's where you put your oil in. Okay, let me look up what those are called. Okay, so it's quite literally called a cylinder head cover. So you would unscrew the oil cap, which is on top of the cylinder head cover, and then you'd pour your oil in and then put the cap back on, and then it would lubricate everything in there. And going back to the page. Right there. Okay, so like that. You can see there. And then the distributor, which is the thing that sparks. So I actually have it on this engine here. And okay, so there is the spark wires, which are attached. These ends go to the distributor, which the distributor is this. So there's the power line, which goes in the middle, right there. And then, depending how many cylinders you have, there's one wire for each, because it's the spark plug wires. They're like called spark wires or something. I just call them spark plug wires because it's the same thing. So this is this distributor. Inside there's a spinny thing that spins. I forget what it's called, but it's like an arm, and then it carries electricity through it. It might say in here. So the spark plug actually gets about 30,000 volts, which is a lot for that. And then the should say something. Okay, so I guess it doesn't. So the inside the distributor, that middle plug that you saw on the distributor over here, that goes straight to the bar inside the distributor, which that bar spins around, which carries electricity. So say spin, and then one thing goes here, it like keeps spinning, but when it touches it, it would spark, like it would send electricity through it, going to the spark coil, not ignition coil. It's like something coil. I'll be back. Okay, so I was right about the ignition coil. So the electricity sends through the ignition coil. The ignition coil is the thing that turns the 12 volts into 30. And then at the end of the ignition coil is the spark plug, which I have spark plugs everywhere around here. I just don't know where one is. Anyway, so it gets to the spark plug, and then it ignites the fuel in the cylinder, and that's what a line for the distributor is. So, pretty normal. And then the gas pump, which is located on the side of the engine, mostly on, if you're in the inline, then mostly on the, let's see here, the right side. It could be on both sides, but yeah, it can be on both sides, so I don't really know. But apparently this microphone wasn't attached to my shirt. Hold on. Please. Anyway, okay, so now you can probably hear me better. So then the pump obviously sucks the fuel through it, and then to the valve in the injectors. So yeah, and gasoline should have the injectors too. Diesels definitely have the injector. It replaces the spark plug and then stuff. So, and then the starter I already explained. The oil pump, which is located in the oil pan. So under, if you take off your oil pan, you'll see a pump looking thing. And that's your oil pan. So, yeah. so it sucks it through, and then it kind of circulates the engine. So, and the distributor is run by the, looks like a camshaft thing. And you can see here. So that goes over there. I think it is just there to run the distributor. And then the belt-driven water pump, so the water pump pumps water around. Okay. The electric generator, so the alternator. That's about it for that. So then the lubrication system. So there's the oil filter, which is, well, the filter's oil. So here are the ways that it goes. Okay, so it goes from the oil reservoir, which is the oil pan, sucks it up through here, goes through the oil filter, and then it splits up. One goes over here, then it falls back down. One goes up here, lubricates that. And this also not only lubricates the crankshaft, it goes up with the cylinders. So the pistons have a oil ring on the side, which the oil goes up in the cylinder, but when the piston comes back down, that oil ring kind of drags the oil back down, so it doesn't get in the cylinder, because that would be bad. You'd literally be losing oil constantly. So that's that. And so there's a few different types of oil pumps. So for one is the normal pump. It just kind of sucks it up there. That's like the filter though. Actual pump. Okay, here's a gear type oil pump. So it goes in from here, goes through there, then goes out, or other way around. So the gears like spin and then sucks oil through. Or the rotor type oil, which it sucks it through with the oil. So the inner rotor, outer rotor. So that is the inner rotor, and then the outer rotor. So like sucks it back up and then goes through. And that's pretty much it for that. Electrical systems. Oh, there's a lot. Okay, so I'm going to name some electrical systems. So washer pumps are like wiper fluid. Heater, well, the heater. Starter, alternator, distributor, battery, electric fan. And then the headlamp / headlight. And then indicator / blinker. And that's not all. Fuse box, the main thing. Electrically operated radio, aerial. So the radio. And then windscreen / windshield. Wiper motor, which, well, wipes the wipers. Pretty simple. Okay, so then, so it goes like this. So the simple electrical system actually goes like this. So the positive, there's a switch here, then goes through, back over here in the car. So like a piece of metal in the car, then goes back through, and then kind of just keeps doing that. Like that. So pretty easy. Okay, more electrical units. So this is in the fuse area. So there's the flasher unit. which it should say what the flasher unit. So okay, this isn't a fuse box. So the fuse box is often located in a cluster of components as used. I don't know what that says. Here, the box is shown with a cover off. So, yeah. So then the flasher unit is probably your blinkers. Relay for electric fan. So, the relay for the electric fan. And then the fuse box. So you can look out there. Like that. And then more series and circuits, so I am not explaining that. So like that. And stuff like that. Is there any more? Okay, wires and printed circuits. When you're like switching. Okay, so I'll read a thing here. So some, I don't know what that says. Components can be used operated without the ignition turned on by turning the switch. So like the key kinda, I don't know. To the electric position, so the key to like the first turn. So there should be like first, second, and then third, which is when your engine is on, and then the fourth is actually the starter, and then once it's done starting, it would go into third, which would be the engine running. So then it's mostly color coded, and that's it for that. Fuel pump. Okay, so this is the last thing for this video. Okay, so a circulating fuel system. Okay, so there's I'll be back. Okay, so there's the vent pipe, which is the gas. So when you put your gas in, it like goes down. The vent pipe. Fuel tank, outward fuel line, intern fuel line, air cleaner, carburetor, which is another air cleaner, and then fuel pump mechanical. So you can kind of see how that works. So then it goes from the gas tank all the way to the carburetor, which is where it mixes, the air fuel mixture goes into the engine. So then the mechanical fuel pump, I have to go in a second, but like that. So the fuel would come in, go through that, and then go here, and then go in the chamber. So then there's that. So when you push your accelerator, it goes in through that, and then out maybe, or in more, and then it goes into the engine. Okay, so it goes in, and then out the top pipe here. And then that. So that's a electric fuel pump. So I'll show you it again. And then yeah. So that's pretty much it for today's video. So smash the like button, make sure you're subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.